Topic is solenoid. In solenoid, a hollow insulated cylinder is wound over by the insulated copper wire and it is passed with the current. Suppose a battery is connected with this solenoid. If we sprinkle iron fillings over it and just tap the board, you will see the iron fillings will align themselves in a direction of magnetic field lines. In this case, these magnetic field lines are closer to each other. That means the magnetic field lines are more stronger. And what are the factors on which this magnetic field depends in case of solenoid? First factor is magnitude of current. More is the current, more stronger will be the magnetic field. Second is number of turns. More number of turns, you will get more stronger magnetic field. And third, if we insert a soft iron core inside the coil, you will find that the magnetic field which is moving outside now concentrated at the central part, and in this way the magnetic field becomes stronger and stronger. Now, what is the difference between electromagnet and permanent magnet? Electromagnets are those magnets which have the magnetic field as long as the current is passing, and permanent magnets are those magnets which have always their magnetic field whether the current is passing or not passing. Now, what are the main differences between these two type of magnet? One, electromagnet can be of any size or shape, but the permanent magnet shape is always fixed. They have a definite shape and size. Now, second one, the poles can be reversed by just reversing the direction of current. You can reverse the poles, but in case of permanent, the poles are always fixed. The north remains north and south remains south. Electromagnet, magnet can be switched on or switched off by just switching on or switching off the current. But in case of permanent magnet, magnets are always on. Fourth point, the strength can be increased or decreased by changing the number of turns or changing the current. But in case of permanent magnet, the strength of the magnet is always fixed. It cannot be decreased or increased. Now, how this magnet can be demagnetized? In first case, demagnetization is just by switching off the current. Current can be switched off to demagnetize the magnet. But in case of permanent magnet, it can also be demagnetized. But these can be by three methods. One is heating, second is hammering, third is rough handling. Rough handling means just taking the magnet in the upper and just free fall it and release it to strike the floor again and again. If you do this, your permanent magnet get demagnetized. Now, next part is Faraday's experiment. It is also known as electromagnetic induction. In this experiment, a coil is taken and this coil is attached with galvanometer. Galvanometer is a device which helps to measure the direction of the current as well as magnitude of the current. It also helps to measure the small current. Small magnitude of current can be also measured. This needle, it is always at 0 point whenever there is no current. But if there is a current is passing in this direction, the magnetic needle, this needle will deflect to this side. And if the current is in the opposite side, the this needle shows deflection on this side. And in this way, this galvanometer can show the magnitude as well as direction of the current. Now, a permanent magnet is taken near it. Good morning, students. After completing Oersted experiment, we will now move to our next topic, that is force acting on a current carrying conductor when placed in a magnetic field. In this case, if a horseshoe shaped magnet, when it is placed in a current carrying conductor is placed inside this magnetic field, what will happen? Because there are two type of magnetic fields are acting with each other, and due to these two magnetic field, either they will have a force of attraction or force of repulsion. But in this case, if force is acting, and this force can be determined by Fleming's left hand rule. And what do you mean by Fleming's left hand rule? This Fleming's left hand rule says that if we stretch our first finger, middle finger and thumb of your left hand in such a way that they are mutually perpendicular to each other, and if first finger shows the direction of magnetic field, middle finger shows the direction of current, then your thumb will show the direction of force. I repeat, first finger shows the direction of magnetic field, middle finger shows the direction of current, then your middle finger will show the direction of force. Now we will align our first finger, middle finger in this diagram. According to this diagram, magnetic field is from north to south. Our first finger should be aligned like this towards north to south, and our finger will be in the direction of current as you see in this diagram, and your thumb will points inside the board. That means you will write in your answer sheet magnetic field, the force will be acting inside the board or inside the answer sheet. Now what is the magnitude? And this magnitude depends on which angle. If this magnetic field direction angle and this current direction, suppose it is from A to B, this angle is 90 degree, the magnetic force will be maximum. And if the angle between these two bodies is 0 degree or they become parallel to each other, this force becomes minimum. And what are the factors on which this magnetic field depends, this force depends? First is magnitude of current. As you increase or decrease the force, the current magnitude, the force also increases or decreases. And secondly, strength of the permanent magnet. If your horseshoe shaped magnet has a stronger magnetic field, that will ultimately exert more force towards the current carrying conductor. And in this way you are able to understand why these two bodies, one is magnet or second it is current carrying conductor, they are exerting a force on each other. When this permanent magnet is brought near the coil, the galvanometer needle shows deflection to one side, and if the magnet is brought away from the coil, it shows the deflection in the opposite side. That means whenever the magnetic field linked with the coil changes, it shows a flow of current. You can say it is a electric current is passing through the coil. And whenever this magnet is brought away from the coil, again there is a change in magnetic field, and this change in magnetic field again leads to a flow of charge या current. That means कि current is passing, and this flow or this production of electric current with the help of changing magnetic field is also known as electromagnetic induction. And now what are the factors? Factors on which this electromagnetic induction depends. First, again it is number of turns. More is the number of turns of this coil, more will be the current. Second is strength of permanent magnet. This is second point. And third is the relative speed of coil and magnet. Moves faster if you move this magnet to and fro faster rate, the electromagnetic induction will be more, and if you move in a slow rate, you will find the electromagnetic induction will be at the lower. In this way, this Faraday experiment proves that the changing magnetic field can lead to the production of current, that is electromagnetic induction. Now, if the induced current is produced by changing the magnetic field, how you can find the direction of induced current? Now, this is according to the Fleming's right hand rule, and according to this rule, if we stretch first finger, middle finger and thumb of your right hand in such a way that they are mutually perpendicular to each other, and if first finger shows the direction of magnetic field and thumb shows the direction of force, then your middle finger will show the direction of induced current, and this is according to Fleming's right hand rule. Now some safety devices. First safety device is fuse wire. In fuse wire, it can be defined as the piece of wire which helps to break the circuit when the potential difference of the circuit exceeds the limit. It always helps to protect our devices from being damaged from excess of current. Now, what are the main properties of this fuse wire? It should have low melting point so that it can easily be melted whenever there is a higher current, and secondly, it should have high resistivity so that it get heated up whenever a excess current in it. Now, another term, it is short circuit. We have three wires which are in our power supply. One is live wire through which the 220 volt current is coming inside your home, and another is neutral wire which takes away 220 volt from your home back to, so that it can be completed your circuit, and third one is earth wire. And whenever there is a problem in which this live wire and this neutral wire, they come in a direct contact, and in this way whenever they come in direct contact, the total current flowing through it becomes 440 volt, and this 440 volt leads to high sparking and damage to the electrical appliances, and also may get set fire in your home. That's why this short circuit is a very harmful process for your electrical devices. Now our next part is earthing. It is another safety device which protects the user from shock whenever there is a leakage in the metallic body of the device. Suppose there is a refrigerator in our house and there is a problem in the insulating covering of the live wire, and due to which the live wire current is passing through this metallic body of this refrigerator, and whenever any user touches it, he may get a severe shock and it may cause a death to the user. But this earthing wire, which is already attached to the metallic body, it catches the current and transfer it to the earth so that the user may not get a severe shock, and hence it is always protected from the severe shock. And this earthing is must for all the metallic appliances which are manually handled. last topic of your chapter is overloading. Overloading, just a passing of excess current through the circuit more than the permissible limit, is called overloading. We generally use certain devices like your electric iron, electric geyser, microwave oven in our smaller switches, which can be lead to overloading and can give short circuit or set fire in your house. For example, using multiple plugs and pins to run many devices on a single switch, it may also lead to overloading. Secondly, heavy devices in our small switches which is of low current. We have two type of switches. One is 5 ampere switches and second is 15 ampere switches, which are made for running different type of devices, and running of heavy devices in 5 ampere switches may also known as overloading.